Alright, today's video, we learned Tempest Strike is currently bugged. We made a video yesterday explaining how broken this is and actually how good it is. It's really good, but there were some issues with it. Well, some of those issues turn out to be enemy-based. And what I mean by that is if we click Vex here, let them spawn in real quick, you will see what I am talking about. As you see, we have 0 combination blow. I do the uppercut, I have ×1. I dodge, I uppercut, I have ×2. I dodge, I uppercut, I'm going to have ×3. Now, mind you, I did take me 3 melees to get ×3, which is kind of normal since that's obviously what it takes. But you can actually get ×3 without that. So you can actually do it. But you're probably wondering, wait, yesterday in the video you said this didn't work. Well, yeah, yesterday in the video it did not work. I do not know why, but for some reason, certain enemy types, there's 3 of them out of the 7 enemy types. The Vanguard one doesn't count. So it's 7 enemy types, 3 of them, for some reason, does not proc with. Tempest Strike does not proc combination blow. So as you see right here, we're going to do this. We got combination ×1. We're going to line up these enemies. And we go to ×3. So you can easily get ×3 with just 2 kills. I have not been able to get procced more than ×1 for the first melee. It always gives me only 1. But then after that, you get 2 and 3 with a kill. So it's very easy to proc. And it technically takes 1 less melee, and it does a lot more damage, obviously, with it. So we're going to go through the ones that you can do this with. You can use the build we talked about yesterday, and do it efficiently because you can use Tempest Strike to build combination blow, get your dodge back constantly, and it's amazing. We have no damage increase again, like we said. We're not going to show all the numbers and shit like we did yesterday because that was yesterday. For testing damage and stuff, today is actually showing what's going on. So we've got the Vex first that we just did, which worked. Now we're going to do the Hive. As you see here, ×1 combination. And then now we do the uppercut again, ×2. Didn't get ×3, unfortunately. Sometimes you do, sometimes don't. It's fine. But as you see, it works. So yeah, Hive works. So if there's Hive or Vex enemies, you can get combination blow to proc while using Tempest Strike. You don't have to do the little melee. You can do the big melee every single time. And you can keep going up. Like as you see, the timer's ticking down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It didn't refresh. There's a little issue because if the jolt kills an enemy before the actual melee connects the damage, there's a little delay there. But on higher end ads, your melee is, the jolt's not going to kill him, the melee will. So on higher end ads, you will always get the timer reset after you get a kill. Unless an ad's like 1 tap, then obviously. So there's a little issue with that, but that's its own thing. That's not that big of a deal. You can easily spam it still, so it really doesn't matter. Alright, we're going to do Take It next to show off it works. Did a little early there. There you go. Alright, combination blow. Like I said, it always does ×1. Now we got ×3. The first one will always do ×1 no matter how many ads you kill, it seems. I think that's kind of dumb, but at the same time I get it. Same time I can do it in 2 melees instead of 3, get ×3, and I'm doing ridiculously increased damage, so honestly it's not that big of a deal. The fact that 1 can only do 1 and then 2 can do 2 and 3 is just crazy. We are now going to do the Dread. These are all 4 races that can use the combination blow proc. You can proc it with Tempest Strike every single time. As you see, we're ×2, and we're going to go to ×3. There we go. So yeah, now we're going to show the 3 races that don't work for some reason. Which, one is the Cabal, which we know from yesterday. We're still going to show it off. But we're going to wait for our timer to go away, just so we can show it fresh. Obviously, if the timer went up, it means it works, and if the timer doesn't, it means it doesn't. But we're still going to show it off as fresh, so that way you understand. There we go. We did it. As you see, nothing happened. No combination blow. We're now going to do the Fallen. The Fallen do not work. As you see, it did not gain combination blow. Now we're going to do the Scorn, which is the last race. And as you see, the Scorn also does not do it. Again, I have no clue why this is happening, but 3 out of the 7 races cannot proc combination blow when you get kills with Tempest Strike, and the other 4 races can. I do not understand why it's this way. This is very weird and kind of stupid, but this is a bug, obviously, at least hopefully. This would be crazy if this was intentional. So obviously Bungie needs to fix this. We did go ahead and test on the ads that do work We did go ahead and test Liar's Handshake. Liar's Handshake still does not work with this build, period, so that part of the video is still accurate. Liar's Handshake should proc if you get meleeed or melee something like a normal melee and then decide to slide uppercut it. You have plenty of time. It should work. I am very disappointed it still doesn't. I thought because obviously some of the ads aren't counting that maybe that would be the reason, but unfortunately that is not. It does just straight up does not work with it, so hopefully if Bungie changes that, then this will be even more godly and even better than Prismatic, even more in some aspect. But currently doesn't. Some builds that we talked about a little about yesterday, some builds that we will add to this real quick that you can use, some of the the abilities you can use would be something like Assassin's Cowl. You can stay invis, get your health back constantly. It works really well. So that's something you could do. You could use Blight Ranger if you're using a super, Arc Staff super, in order to redirect the damage. You could use, in theory, you could use Shinobi's Vow, so you could have a melee/grenade build where you're doing ads and doing damage constantly for grenade, because the skip grenade with Shinobi's comes back very quickly, and especially with decent grenade stat. And then you have your melee doing damage as well. So there could be a theory of a combo there, potentially. Like we said, Liar's Handshake does not work, so it does not matter to look at. Something else you could use is Mothkeeper's Wrath. Free overshield constantly. You're constantly healing yourself and getting overshield. That's pretty nice. So definitely could work very well. Radiant Flux if you want to do Arc Staff damage increase. If you just want to use Arc Staff to do insane damage, or really good damage. Lucky Raspberry if you want to use Arc Bolt and grenades. That could work. Your Arc Bolts are decent now with this. They buffed it and does some better stuff now, so in theory could work decently. Dragon Shadow. Oh, sorry, that's not one of them. It's 6 Coyote. Sorry, 6 Coyote could work because you could get 2 dodges then. And then, simple as that. You get 2 dodges, you know, you melee if you have your melee and your 2 dodges, you melee once, dodge, melee again, dodge, melee again if you add 1-2 punch. That's 3 1-2 punch melees you're doing in the span of literally a second. Like 3.5 seconds or something, which is crazy. So, honestly, definitely a good shout for that for damage. You could use Raiju's Harness, which allows you to get Gathering Storm very quickly. Whenever you jolt them, defeat arc debuff targets, grants a small amount of Gathering Storm energy. You can scale that based on your super stats, so you can, in theory, get quite a bit of Gathering Storms. It doesn't do a lot of damage. This super is probably one of the weakest supers, but you could definitely combo it, and because you're throwing so many of them constantly, because you're clearing ads and stuff, in theory, you could do a lot of damage. So there's potential here for something crazy. You could run Gifted Conviction, which somebody in the comments put out. I did talk about yesterday, but I guess... or I meant to. If I didn't, I didn't. This works because you are using Tempest Strike. This gives you a damage resistance every time you jolt enemies, and it also gives you little explosive balls that bounce around and do damage as well. So it could help out with clearing it if it's a high density ad area that's hardcore or something. That could help severely. You could use some like Frosties. You sprint, you gain your abilities quicker. Stuff like that. You could use Star Eaters to increase your damage, obviously. You have Radiant Dance Machines, get a few primary kills. You have 3-4 dodges or something like that max. And then you can simply, if you have your melee already and you have max stacks, you melee once. Then you can melee several times, so basically the same thing as the 6 Coyote. And you can technically still get more even if you don't have your melee, because obviously you get more to begin with. So in theory it could work really well, but that's about it. There are a few things you can combo to make your damage more, in a sense, but at the same time, nothing really helps the melee. If Bungie could just increase Liar's Handshake, or not increase, but fix it where Liar's Handshake works with it, that would make it really fun, really enjoyable, and I think it'd be pretty nice. I do understand sort of why it doesn't work, because obviously it does that extra melee attack. It does like a special one. I think Bungie should add a special effect to the uppercut version of it, and have its own unique thing, and that way it would work. I mean, I know it makes sense it doesn't work, but at the same time I really wish it did, because it would make it a lot better. And then it would compete even better with 1-2 punch on a prismatic strand grapple build. So it would make it, this would make it probably a lot better. Or even if it wouldn't compete perfectly with the Invis version, it still would overdo just the basic version by a mile. And that would be amazing. So Bungie, please make Liar's Handshake have a unique effect. That'd be really cool. Otherwise, this thing is pretty cool. I am sad that it is currently not working on 3 of the ads, but it's okay because 4 out of the 3 is, or 4 out of the 7 is better than not. So we'll show you some of what it looks like if you're fighting. We just dodge. Literally just clearing ads out like crazy. See, we just keeping the thing going. Yeah, we just keep killing the ads constantly. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Something else you could run is like Worm Husk, so every time you dodged, it would heal you. That's something I forgot to mention too. Just to get a little health back constantly. Because unfortunately, when you get kills, it does not appear to actually do anything. It does not seem to heal you like Combination Blow. At least it hasn't appeared to heal. So, unfortunate there. There you go. Look. As you see, we don't heal, unfortunately. So you could use something like Worm Husk. Unfortunately, it glitched out there. It does glitch out as well, even if the adds it can damage. So there's a problem with that as well. So there's still bugs of this. It's very buggy. Kind of hope Bungie will fix it. 'Cause I actually just healed there as well. That's really weird. So it's very broken. That's the point we're making today. Bungie, please fix this. Please look into what's going on with this. I do not know why, but it is beyond broken. Several of the enemy types just straight up don't work. And then some of them just straight up, it seems to heal you once in a blue moon, and other times it doesn't. So I really don't know. That's why Worm Husk or the Assassin's Cowl could be a shot. I don't know if Assassin's Cowl will work. We could test that real quick. You know, we'll test it real quick while we're making the video. Why not? We're going to buy it. We're almost out of Glimmer. We're out of Glimmer. Let's try it out real quick. We'll find this out. Let's see. Let me activate this. Let me activate Combatant Wave. Okay, so Assassin's Cowl does work. So Assassin's Cowl would be your best option by a mile. Running Assassin's Cowl is the way, without a doubt. What? Okay, well, it just got stuck on an invisible object. That's kind of cool. Assassin's Cowl would make this a lot better, keeps you healing. So, definitely worth using Assassin's Cowl by a mile. We just nuked that dude. He just got absolutely obliterated. Poor guy. But yeah, so it's buggy, it's glitchy, it has its moments where it'll heal and moments where it won't. A lot more that won't. So Assassin's Cowl could be a huge shout to use and be very good. So I would recommend Assassin's Cowl. If you don't have it, go grab it, buy it, focus it, wherever, different places. So yeah, as a whole, there's a few things to use with this. Like I said, you can build different ways, but it is currently bugged. I hope Bungie fixes it sooner than later, because this build is honestly a lot of fun to use, and really good as well, so it's definitely worth using. Anyways, that's the video. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, the content you think. Bungie, please fix. It's kind of sad that they haven't fixed it yet, so yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. Adios, we out. Bye!